Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ahead of the Curve. Bo, it's been a long time since we've done an Ahead of the Curve
It
show, but
has.
I think it's time for us to talk about a few things that are in the news.
Yes.
And the big thing right now, of course, coming in after Trump's election, he's elected now, and there's a lot of these confirmation hearings taking place. He's got a few of his guys in, and now we're sitting here looking at Tulsi Gabbard. We're looking at Robert F. Kennedy. We're looking at Kash Patel for some major positions. And the American people, I think, were pushed over the top for Trump because of Robert Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard. I think we got some left leaning people to come to the center and vote there. Now it's a matter of getting these people confirmed, and it seems like they've run into all kinds of hindrances and
Yes.
obstruction in the hearings.
What those three individuals that you mentioned are going through right now and what they're facing is the roots and the arms of the deep state. It is the establishment, so to speak. So what they're doing is they're kind of new to it. They're not really hooked up from way back and don't have generations of political ties. They're doers. They're a Trump like. They're, I would say, a chip off the block. A lot of those are in their own different ways, but they're going against what we call the swamp or whatever you want to call it, the deep state or whatever. And that is what the pushback is. They are going to continue to get this. I mean,
they've experienced the deep state. Robert F. Kennedy's been around it his whole life.
Well, he has.
And he's experienced and saw back. I mean, he was big about health during the COVID time period,
yes.
From 2019 to 2022 when we were all going through that garbage. I mean, he saw what was going on, and he's tried to expose the vax scam that was taking place by big pharma.
Yes.
And of course, a lot of people get tore up when you start talking about vaccines, and we're not going to go down that path, Bo.
No.
But he wants everything, the science, to be backing up what we're selling to the American people.
That's basically what he's saying, without getting into the hoopla of the back and forth from the crazies to a man that's just really talking sense. You hit the nail on the head. It's just, having at least that choice and not being told you have to lose your job by a needle.
Something came out in the Kash Patel hearings, and basically that it exposed Marsha Blackburn was part of the conversation of trying to get the Epstein files out. And the Democrats are really fighting against that tough. What do you think?
Well, there might be a few big names that are in there.
You reckon?
I reckon so, and I think that it would embarrass and possibly criminalize a lot of individuals.
Biden will try to pardon them.
Well, yeah.
You think the list that he gave out pardons to, that you might want to check that name.
Yes,
those names for that list. Exactly. I'm just saying, but
I mean, he was giving them out, and he was giving them out probably for good reason.
Yeah,
I don't know what reasons he had, but I think we could come up with some reasons that he gave them to Fauci and various family members. So,
yeah.
But that is just what happens, and that's the power of the executive office, and that's what he's done. But he's gone now, and now that with Trump, 8-10 days in, people, I see these Democrats come up to me and say, "Hey, Bo, why aren't the eggs down yet?" He hadn't done that yet. Just a few days in, they had 4 years to get things down.
I don't think Trump's concerned about the eggs.
He's not concerned about the eggs. There's bigger things going on.
He's wanting to drill, baby, drill, and that brings everything down.
He is, and then I don't know if we can mention the tragedy, the Black Hawk helicopter and the jet that collided. Pete Hegseth has been on that, and it's kind of his first test, I guess, in his new capacity.
It's his first crisis.
It is. So they're looking at this. This is first crisis in the United States like that since 2009. It's sad, and we're just like everybody else. We're mourning for those families, but I think maybe there's a lot to learn about maybe staffing situations and things that could be changed. There's always something to learn from a tragedy, but you hate that it has to happen.
I mean, some people have tried to jump toward conspiracy theories. I'm thinking it's an accident.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an accident, and it's going to turn out to be pilot failure somewhere.
Yeah.
And could have been on the jet, could have been with a helicopter. Who knows? But they'll get to that. But
they will.
One thing, going back to the confirmations, is Tulsi Gabbard. She's a professional. There's no question about it. And she was brought in when she won her seat in Congress. She, you listen to her story, within an hour after being sworn in, she was already getting hit by all the lobbyists, wanting them to be able to set up these established groups and I think they call them foundations a lot of times up there,
Yes.
so that they can funnel money to her,
Yes,
and pay her off.
Yes.
And she said it's just crooked.
Yeah, she's being enlightened, I would say, by
Just in
what
an hour
really
after
happens.
being sworn in.
Right.
And she tells that story, and she says, ever since then, I've just had a bad taste about how things operate in Washington, and I want to fix it.
And you wonder how you can go in there penniless without a job like Joe Biden in the 70s and come out a multimillionaire. That's how it happens. And you're selling your soul to the devil or to private enterprise for special interest. And now it's time for government. There was men that started this country off of a pure intellect, out of pure love of the country and a force, and we've lost that.
Yeah. Well, they've taken the Constitution, and I don't know, I use that term "they" very loosely, because I don't know who you point the finger at. It's happened for decades now.
It has.
The Constitution is down the tubes.
It is.
All right, let's talk about something else that Trump has come out with. I mean, he's talking about using tariffs to bring in funds to equalize our trade situations and negotiate deals.
Yes.
He came out the other day and basically said, we'll bring enough money in tariffs to where we don't have to have an income tax. And the average person sits there and goes, oh my gosh, we got to have an income. Wait a minute. They're taking money out of our pockets every year. And Trump is saying, I'd like to give it back to you.
Yeah.
And why would somebody fight against that, Bo?
It's so ingrained in us that we have, it's almost like eating here. It's prey, food and taxes, around here. I think it's so ingrained, and it's such a shock that someone would actually, first of all, say it, because we can't believe that he would say that. But imagine other people besides Americans funding the country.
Well, you look at
they're missing. That's the main point. I mean, and I see right through it. It's brilliant. I mean, and why haven't we been doing this for years?
1913 is the first year when the income tax was rolled out. As best I can remember, we started in 1776, so we went a long time without an income tax. Where'd the money come from? Well, you know what? The government was basically set up to protect and to defend our country. Okay, and we had wars in our own country. Okay, the Civil War took place. Who paid for all that? And there wasn't an income tax anywhere.
Yeah, well, all right.
That went on, and you look after the Civil War from that time to the turn of the century. We started the industrial revolution right after the income tax kicked into gear. And that income tax was draining people in. Just look at what it's doing now.
Oh, the smart people back then, they saw, hey, all this industrialization going on, all this production, let's take a few cents off the top. Well, yeah, now it's turned into a way of life, and it's more than a few cents. And then they hired this team of this army to go after and to threaten individuals and to take away their property, all because we could get it. We're not appropriating our funds. They should be coming from visitors from other countries, from these the cargo from other countries, from the merchandise and all the trade that we do. But it's been so backwards that we would rather make the own. Not only will we not secure them, we'll make them pay for everything too. We're funding the pockets of these things, and it's sad. Hey, I hope that this happens. It really comes to a shock. Trump has done some shocking things, and he's gone through with it. I don't know how or if he'll be able to eliminate the income tax, but I would definitely be for that. And
well, he basically says, and a lot of the economists say, when they put the numbers together, if he tariffs like he says in the instances that are necessary, like with China on some products and Canada on some products, Mexico, it will bring in more money than our current income tax will be bringing from the American people. Why wouldn't you do away with it?
They're scared of the international people. No, it makes them mad. Well, I'm sorry. It does, but I'm sorry. That's the way it has to be. They're doing it to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Trump is he knows how to make a deal. I mean, he can.
Like him or not, he can pull a deal off.
He can.
And he's doing it every day right now. And there's so much going on that we don't even know about.
Yes, there is.
And this, the federal, the cut, the first thing that the news media did said, they told everybody that they're going to be having their Social Security and Medicare cut and froze. You're not going to get any checks. The biggest lie on the planet. this news media that still exists for some reason. Why do you think it exists, Bo? How do they keep? How do they stay in business?
I guess that they have enough crazies watching them. I can't
Who
understand.
is watching that garbage?
I don't know. Not
you
me.
Look at CNN,
not me.
ABC, CBS, NBC, and then you got MSNBC, and then you've got.
I think they're just antiques sitting there. I think they're gone.
They are gone. They're about gone the way of the newspaper.
But you're right. They're selling this this just crazy, this lie about, people are going to get their money taken away because these. Just don't buy into that.
I know, it's crazy.
Look, there's going to, like I talked about earlier, there's always a little bit of hurt before the sunshine, maybe a little rain before the sunshine. It's okay. This is it's okay to put a pause on things sometimes and think.
I think they want to try to figure out where all the money's going.
Yeah,
they need to figure that out.
They do, and there's a lot of ways.
We got so much
on many ways.
About 2/3 of every check written by our federal government is blown in the wind. And it has no benefit to the United States.
And Elon Musk and that task group, I know that they're building and everything. It's been really kind of quiet around that deal. I look for a big revelation soon.
It's coming. All right, let's change gears and talk more local about Tennessee. Of course, yesterday the House debated, went through all these different amendments. They voted in 54-44 the school voucher bill, and now it has to be voted on by the Senate, which is probably taking place as we're recording this right now. Bo, I've been looking at this, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, and people on all sides of it are not for it. How do 54 state representatives stand up and say, I'm representing the people, and vote for it? How do they do that?
Well, they're not apparently, or they're representing a small chunk of that percentage that just happens to be for it. When you see general media, I guess you would say statewide media on the general stations or whatever, you're seeing a lot of momentum for it positively.
And I don't understand where that's coming from.
Well, you're not hearing a lot of details either. And you're having to really dig for details. And some of the details you're hearing are not all of the details. It's always what they don't tell you.
Well, there's a lot of stuff tied to this as well. But they first of all, they try to bribe the school teachers into going along with it by giving them $2,000. That's a bribe. I don't care how you put it. It's what it is.
It's hard not to turn down that. And that's what they're doing.
Well, it is. I mean, most teachers I know say they don't want that.
No.
Okay. All right. You got the teacher side of it and the school system, public school system side of it. Then you've got the private school side of it. Well, if you're a private school, why would you want to take the vouchers if the state is going to tell you every move to make?
It's letting the government in the door, and that's the reason why you're a private school more than likely is because to be independent.
And then the homeschoolers are getting tossed in with the private schools, and they're talking like, well, we're going to oversee you too. Wait, the government, anytime they get involved in something, it turns to Apollo. You know what?
Yes, that's exactly right. And on the opposite view of things, most of the time that a private enterprise gets involved in something and lets a market work and thrive, it turns into a thriving piece.
Let me tell you something, Bo. If you took and turned our school system into a free market capitalist system, there would probably be a third of the schools have to close their doors, but the other 2/3 would be booming.
They sure would.
Because they'd be succeeding, and that's where kids would want to go to school. The parents want them to go to that school versus this school. So that's kind of like a business. You want to do business with this company or that company.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we have a socialist type of school system.
We hand out, and then you think you're just getting it, and then that money's gone, and you're beholden to all their rules. You get a rule book with that. There are definitely strings attached to this, and the more that they get involved in anything, that's why we constantly talk about limited government. This is one aspect of it right here. Yes, we probably need the help, but I think that we could provide for our own. We don't need it.
Here's the problem. Well, here's the problem, Bo. If Bedford County Board of Education says we're not taking any state money, that means our property taxes would probably go up 5 times what they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because our school budget right now is funded 17. Now, this is a rough number. I think it's less than 17% by our county.
Mm-hmm.
Our county citizens are only paying for 17% tops of our school budget. Okay, the state is basically paying the bulk of it. So with the state bringing their funds to fund all of these school systems across the state, comes with that rule book that you're talking about, which is it puts a stranglehold on a
Yes.
lot of schools in a lot of districts.
Yes, it does.
Because it's a cookie cutter approach, and you can't have a cookie cutter approach because our society varies from the corner of East Tennessee to the corner of Southwest Tennessee.
That's right.
It's completely different.
And in our county, it differs from child to child.
Yeah.
A lot of times they just need that. And this blanket education system has got to go. But when you buy in or when you take the handouts, you are beheld to this.
I know. You got to do this.
The only way out is to not do it. Then you get all that funding.
You're answering to the state of Tennessee versus the parents.
That's right. And we all know how that goes when we go to the driver's license center and when we try to do anything with the state.
I will say this. The state of Tennessee, to me, has done a fantastic job in a lot of areas. School
no doubt
system
about it.
is definitely a challenge for every state.
Yes,
the education system, because it is somewhat of an entitlement system that's out there, and we want to make sure every child has an opportunity. So we force every child to go through this process.
Right.
All right. But it is what it is, and we do the best we can with what we got. The state, I think, has done a fantastic job of many different things, and our finances in the state of Tennessee are very well because we have one of the highest sales taxes in the country. So,
but we have no income tax.
But we have no income tax. We brag about that, but we really do have an income tax. It's in sales tax. But when people pass through, they are paying that sales tax. That's right. Another topic. Right. Another day, another topic.
That's right.
But my point being, it would be better if our local county school systems had more impact than the state does. And unfortunately, it's not that way.
It's not. And for it to be that way, we would have to pay more. We would have to, but it should be a pay to play. You shouldn't have to blanket that either. You step up, be a responsible, you've got a child, it's time to be a responsible parent. And then you pay for that school. And right now that's not our choice. Everything's free and great. You get the food and everything else, but what else are you getting? Free always comes with something tied to it.
So bottom line for me, Bo, this is my personal opinion, which amounts to a hill of beans. Okay. I think everything should be left like it is. Let private schools be private. Let those people that choose to send their kids and make the sacrifice financially to send those kids to private school, let them do that. But the state of Tennessee, stay out of it. Homeschoolers, people that choose to bring their kids home and school them there for whatever reasons they may have, that's their private concern. And at the end of grade 12, those kids will run to take the ACT and the college entrance exams, and I'll tell you, the bulk of them are ready. Most of them are. Now, sure, a few of them are not, but that's the responsibility of the parents.
That's right.
Right now, the parents need to take a grip on what's going on.
And we need less.
And go with it.
That's right.
And the public school system needs to be managed at the local level and not from Nashville. That's just what my thought is. Even though the money's coming from there, the money is actually coming from the people of the state.
That's right.
Okay.
And God bless the superintendents of our county and others, because I know that they struggle with that because they see what we need, but they know that we're beholden to some state regulations and things.
They're worried more about what the state of Tennessee is going to say about their progress rather than the students' parents.
That's right. And like what you said earlier, it's not an indictment against, I'm not, the state of Tennessee. We got some great things. It's just a mindset or a really a fundamental mindset of government intrusion and too much government involved.
Yeah.
It's not Tennessee, or it's just state or local government in that. But I just want to make that clear because we do live in a great state. We live in a great county.
I wouldn't live anywhere else.
That's right.
Maybe Florida. But that's another
snowbird.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is passed. It's going now to the Senate.
Yeah.
And
it could pass through.
I hate it for the private schools out there that want to remain private. If I'm in charge of a private school, get that money away from me. I'm not going down that path.
And if the Senate approves it, the next step would be the governor's desk, and this is his bill.
Oh, this is his bill.
This will be a slam.
I don't know why he's tried to please everybody and he's pleased nobody.
Well, yeah, you're right, and that's what always happens when you try to do that. But we don't know the Senate's outcome yet, but I would say the momentum's going into that it will be passed. But I guess we will update on our next show
Yeah.
about that. And
Yeah. And trying to get ahead of the curve on this national situation with President Trump. When we come back, there's going to be a lot of things that's happened in that week or a week or 10 days or whatever it is that we're going to try to do this every week,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes. Get back
get
on
this
the schedule.
back going and talk about, but there's going to be a lot to talk about a week from here now,
yes.
Bo.
Yes.
So I look forward to doing that and
For
seeing
sure.
where we've been.
Yes. We're moving fast and we're moving a lot of moving pieces. So stay tuned to us. We'll be glad to discuss it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Look
if you have
to
any comments, please leave them in the comment section. Share this video with a friend. And we make no apologies. We are conservatives.
Yes, we are.
We'll see you guys next time.
And we carry a pocket knife.
Yeah.